Endless Ocean Luminous. Dave, just why is the biggest question with this game?
Adam is so surprised at why we picked this game. Go ahead. Go ahead.
There's a couple questions I have with it. So Endless Ocean Luminous, this is a second edition of the game, third edition of the game.
Third edition of the game.
And I think my biggest question is like, why on the Switch? Like, I don't see like the Switch is cool and all, like, but it's not very immersive. And I feel like a game like this needs to have more of an immersive feel. And this, I don't know, the Switch I didn't feel like gives me that immersion.
100% agree with you. And guys, if you guys don't know what we're talking about Endless Ocean. This is the third installment, like Adam said. This one is called Luminous, and before that, there was two previous installments, Endless Ocean and Endless Ocean 2. And the reason why this game is on the Switch is just because this game is kind of exclusive to Nintendo. So the first two came out on the Wii, so they don't really have any other choice because I still feel like they're tied as a Nintendo exclusive. So they really don't have any other choice. And I would love for this game to come out on other platforms. Specifically, I think if they could get a PC version, they could really kind of dial this in. But unfortunately, it is going to be on the Switch. But I don't think just because it's on the Switch that it's a game that you guys should overlook, because it really is an interesting game. And if you guys don't know what we're talking about, basically, Endless Ocean is your journey as a scuba diver. And you get to explore this like underwater world. And I would love to say that there's like something special. I would love to say that there's something special about this game, because I understand why you would say, like, why would you pick this game? Because there really isn't anything special about it other than the fact that it's just a really like calming and peaceful and enjoyable game. And you know that I love these games. Like I love games that are nonstop action and just like, punching bosses in the face and stabbing and like all that stuff. But I also like these like very chill kind of games, and that's exactly what this is. And
Yeah.
I'm just ready for a game like this right now.
Mhm. I would definitely agree with you. And so if you're just listening, like Dave said, you're just a scuba diver exploring the ocean. You get to go along and find different species, and it's really cool that you'll be able to play with other people, up to 30 different players in a server, which I think is really cool. And I think that's where some of that immersion does come into play, where you'll get to feel like you're scuba diving with other players and see different sea animals, explore different underwater like castle or like underwater facilities or like landmarks and stuff like that. And it's really cool.
Yeah, and if you guys are just listening, I mean, take a look at the trailer, and there's some extended trailers that are showing like a lot of gameplay right now. And I think just like you think underwater, right? And you just think like it kind of all looks the same, but you can, if you're just listening, like we're seeing so many different types of like underwater settings. I mean, we're looking at kind of like a cove right now where the water is very crystal blue. And then we're looking at like a cave setting where it's a little bit murky and a little bit greener. And then there's deep ocean stuff where the water's like almost black. And then also, like Adam said, you're exploring all of these different areas. You're exploring like not only just the ocean, but you're exploring these shipwrecks and like these underground kind of like temples and stuff like that. And I think it's a really kind of just fun, peaceful, immersive experience that you can kind of just get lost in. You know what I mean? And it's like just the crashing waves and just seeing all these different species of animals kind of swim around you, and like, oh, it's a sunken ship, or like, oh, you found this, they found this new thing to explore. It's just a very kind of calming game. And I think every once in a while you just kind of need a game like that.
Yeah. And a couple other things with it. Kind of there's simple customization too. I don't know if you saw that. Like you can customize your character. You'll be able to change like the scuba air tank, the colors and things like that, which I don't think it's gonna be anything like major in terms of the customization, but just adding stuff to make your character yours. Like I said, you'll be able to play with 30 total players. And if you don't play with that many, like 10 random people can join your server. Like if you don't like have so many, which is kind of cool because like some of these games, if you don't have friends in there, like it feels kind of empty. But it's nice that they'll push people into your world if you don't have people playing with you. And the great thing about this is like nobody's trying to kill you. Like you're just swimming and exploring together, which is really cool. It would be kind of disappointing or not disappointing. It'd be so funny if it was like a Pokemon situation where like I caught this shark and you don't get to like scan it or anything like that. And so the whole premise is you get to learn about the sea animals by scanning them and exploring that way. And I think you get points when you scan them, and that's where some of that customization loot can come in. Like you'll get some of that stuff. There's over 500 sea creatures, and some of them are presumed to be extinct or even mythical, which I think is really cool. Throw in some stuff that you wouldn't see in real life anymore in a way.
I think that's really, really interesting. And, like Adam said, there's over 500 different species of aquatic life for you to get in there and scan. And basically, what you're doing is you're going diving, you're finding all of these species, scanning them. They have facts that you can learn about them, so you're actually learning about what these things are. And I think one of the coolest things is, Adam, you talked about it. You can play with up to 30 different people, and you can do this in an online server, right? But the way that this is going to kind of work, and not a lot of people are really talking about this, and I think it's one of the coolest kind of aspects of this game, is that did you know that all of these maps are procedurally generated?
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, so basically what's going to happen is you're going to load up into the game and you are going to get a map ID. And your map ID is just exclusive to you. So everybody else that's playing is going to get a different generated version of the map. And they're saying that every single time you dive, it's going to be again procedurally generated. So it's an ever evolving kind of world. So you can dive the first time, right? And you're swimming around in an area. Well, the next time you dive, the area could have evolved. I mean, there's more, there could be more coral reefs that are starting to grow, or all of a sudden, there's a shipwreck there from a ship that just, passed over top and now there's a shipwreck there. And I think that's really, really cool because you're still kind of learning the way of the land. I mean, in a basic sense where you're going within your world. But it's always changing. So I mean, every time you go back to a different spot, it could be something different and something new and something fresh. And what's really cool about is being able to play with 30 different people is like one person is going to be hosting this kind of thing. So as long as you're not the one hosting, you're gonna get dropped into somebody else's map and you're gonna get to see what their underwater universe looks like. And it's gonna be totally different from your generated world. And I think that's really, really cool because you can just keep bouncing around to different, versions of this underwater world and be like, oh, that's really cool. Like I don't have that temple, or like, oh, I don't have that like shipwreck. I've never seen that before. And I think it's a really interesting kind of concept. I think it's really kind of ambitious to say that these are going to be, generated like that. And you're going to have your own world map and stuff like that. And I think it's something that for some reason not a lot of people are talking about, but I think it's one of the kind of key factors for me of why I think the game's cool.
I think the game is really cool. I think there's just some big limitations of it being on the Switch.
Oh, 100%.
I think graphically, this if like you said, if this was on the computer or if this was a VR game,
Yeah.
that would be so cool. But the fact that it's on the Switch, I think it's a big limitation of just graphics and capabilities of the game. But that's not to say it's going to be a bad game because, I mean, it's obviously doing good enough to make a third installment of it. You know what I mean? And I think the fact it's probably going to look a lot better on the OLED Switch, probably not on the same one I have. And if you have it on a big TV, like that's where it's going to be pretty cool. But, and those are just little things. Like it's a Switch game. Like I can't say, oh, like it needs to be on the PC. Like it's been on Nintendo forever. Like it's Nintendo's game, so like it doesn't need to be on the PC. Although it would be really cool.
Yeah, no, it really would be cool. And like you guys know, I am PlayStation till the day I die. I would love for them to put out just a really like photorealistic style that would go on the PS5, and it would just be like, oh my god, this is freaking amazing. But unfortunately, like that's not what we're gonna get, and we all kind of know the limitations of the Switch right now. Yeah, guys, if you guys are expecting like a photorealistic, like underwater immersion type of thing, that this is not that. You need to go into it, and again, take a look at the trailer because you'll see exactly what we're talking about. I think for the Switch, they probably made it as realistic as possible. But it's still it looks campy. And I'm not gonna lie, it looks campy, but like it looks like Switch campy, you know? So I it would again, it would be great if it wasn't on the Switch, but I mean, it's still on the Switch, so I'm gonna play it.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's one that it might be a game that where like my wife would like to enjoy and things like that too. So it's probably gonna be on my list. Although, however, it's $50 to just swim, and I'm not sure how I feel about a $50 price tag just to swim and see sea animals when I can watch a YouTube video and do the same thing and hyper realism and stuff like that.
But you're not controlling the YouTube video, you're just watching it.
I mean, if I do one of those 360 cam videos, I could be. But I don't know. I'll have to think about it a little bit more. Maybe when it goes on sale. But I just feel like that's kind of crazy. $50 just to swim. So
I do think the price point is a little bit out there. I don't know. I don't know. Is Switch falling in line with this new $70 price tag?
70 and then $40, maybe. I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, I guess if Switch is falling in line with this new $70 price tag for games, like
Yeah.
they might think that this is a discounted game. I would be really comfortable with this game at around $40. I feel like $40 is probably going to be the sweet spot.
Right.
So yeah, $50. I don't know. I'm probably still gonna play it just because
Yeah.
I just love sea creatures. So like
Yeah.
I'm still probably gonna play it. But yeah, it's I don't know. Maybe wait for it to go on sale. It'll go on sale.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. The Switch games take forever to go on sale, and some of them still don't. Like, if you go to try to play Mario Odyssey, you're still probably gonna pay $60 for that game.
Oh yeah, Mario, Zelda, all that
Yeah.
stuff never goes on sale.
Yeah,
But
it's crazy. Some of these games do.
Endless Ocean feels like a game that's probably gonna go on sale.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
But I mean, it is what it is. Just if you're interested in this style of game, something that's just kind of peaceful, calm, this is going to be a really, really great game for you. I think it's kind of, like we talked about, the procedurally generated worlds are kind of ambitious, especially for a Switch game. The 30-player co-op, I think, is a really cool idea. It's definitely something that I'm gonna look into. If you guys like underwater stuff, definitely check it out. Just be aware, it is on the Switch. It's gonna look a little bit campy. It might be a little bit pricey, but I think at the end of the day, yeah, I think this game is gonna offer a lot more than people think. And
Yeah, and one thing I wish it would do is like you get to customize your boat that like travels you to where you're gonna dive. That would be cool, but I don't think that's what's gonna happen.
I don't think that's gonna happen either. But yeah, I do think it's really cool. And one of the things that people were talking about is like, is there gonna be a story mode to this game? The first two had story modes. This one I do believe is gonna have a story mode. I do think story mode has been confirmed. I don't think it's gonna be anything crazy. It seems like a kind of very typical we're gonna save the coral reef story, which is fine. I don't know what other story you could kind of do for this, but there is gonna be a single player story mode. So if you don't want to load in, with 29 other random people, you don't have to. You can explore by yourselves, but keep this one on your radar. I'm gonna play it. I will let you know when I have scanned all 500 creatures in the endless ocean. And I'll give you my final thoughts.